This is lesson 5.2, Algebra 1. It starts on page 278 in your book, and this lesson is on point-slope form. It sounds like really close to slope-intercept form. This is a slightly different approach. You can use the point-slope form to write an equation that models the pressure on a diver. I don't think that actually I'm assigning that number one to you, but this is something you could use it for. So this shows you what the point-slope form equation looks like. The point-slope form of the equation of the line, and we have, this is the point here, right there. I don't know why my thing isn't showing up. Hang on. Okay, now we're back. We have y1, that's the point, and that's the point. So the point, your coordinates are going to be there. The x-coordinate would be here. The y-coordinate would be here. The slope, which we've already talked about, is here. And we do nothing with this y or this x at the moment. So we can do the point slope from a graph where we have a point. We know the coordinates. We can figure out the slope, the rise over the run, and then we can work backwards. So here we have a point. It's right here. It's 1, 2. The x-coordinate is 1 and the y-coordinate is 2. We can, if we know the slope, then which is 2 over 3, then we can do our run is 3, our rise is 2, and you'll be asked multiple times in your homework to write the equation of a line in the graph in point-slope form. And so to do that, to work basically backwards, you're given the point, like I said, the coordinates are 1 over 2, 1 and 2 from the graph, and then it'll give you the slope. In this case, it says that the slope, which is m, is 2 over 3. Here's our equation. It's y minus y1 equals m, which is the slope, times x minus x1. So now you just plug in the information that's given to you. So it's really not that difficult because all you're doing is plugging in the information they've given you. So here we know that the 1 for the x-coordinate, it's going to go right here for x1. We know that the 2 is the y-coordinate, it's going to go right here. And we know that the rise over the run is the slope, and that's going to be 2 over 3, although my little doesn't look like a 2 there. And then we can work out the equation, which, or in this case, I could just rewrite it down here for you, is y minus 2 equals 2 over 3 times x minus 1. There's nothing more to do in this case for this one because all we did is plug in numbers that you were already given. So here's another example where the instructions would be from the graph, find m equals negative 1/2, 1 over 2. Again, the rise is going to be 1 over 2, and we have a negative sign. So WPSF is just my abbreviation for write it in point-slope form. The equation for point-slope form is, again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And now we have to plug in what we have. So our y1, which is right here, our coordinates is 0, 0, because it's right there in between. So y1 is 0, x1 is 0, and the rise over the run, the slope is negative 1 over 2. And because we have zeros here, our final equation is y equals negative 1 over 2 x. That one was pretty simple. So here's another one. From the graph, find m equals 1 over 2. This time we don't have a negative sign. We have our points that it gives us are 3 and 2. Our rise and run is 1 over 2. We're going to write it in point-slope form. Again, the equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We plug in what we know. Our x-coordinate is 3. It goes right here. Our y-coordinate is right there. Our slope is 1 over 2. And now I've written my equation in point slope form, and there's nothing more for us to do on this one. So we are m equals 1 over 2, x1 equals 3, y1 equals 2. Another example, from the graph, find m equals negative 2 over 3. We write our equation in point slope form, which is going to be in the format y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We plug in our numbers, our point that it gave us. I didn't write it down, but the point we're working with is negative 3, 1. So that's right there. We have our run and our rise, which is a negative rise there. So we plug in the y variable is, y coordinate is 1. The x1 value is negative 3. Our slope is negative 2 over 3, which is right there. So here I've rewritten my, and then I have to, here I had a double negative right here, which is a positive. So now our equation is y minus 1 equals negative 2 over 3 times x plus 3. There's nothing more to do with this one, so we can say m equals negative 2 over 3, x1 is negative 3, y1 is 1, and again, all the information is given to us. We're just plugging it into this original equation here. I'm having difficulty writing with my stylus, so excuse the scribbles. I don't know why. I'm trying to write in cursive. Every time I lift up my pen, I lose contact, and I have to wait like 30 seconds for the stylus to start working. So anyhow, I'm giving up and trying to write in cursive so I don't have to lift my pen up, but it's not working so well. It says our directions would be to write an equation in point slope form that passes through the point 1 and negative 5 with a slope of 3. So again, we've been given the information we need. We're going to write it right here in point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. When I rewrite I substitute my values. So I have my slope is 3. I put that right there. I have a negative 5 here for my y value, and I have a 1 for my x1 value. So I've plugged everything in, and my equation now is y plus 5 equals 3 times x minus 1, and this would be red if you were reading it or saying it out loud. The equation in point slope form of the line is y plus 5 equals 3 times x minus 1. That's how you would say it out loud. So now we're going to look at, write in point slope form the equation of the line that passes through the point 2 and 2 with a slope of 1 over 2. I write out the original equation, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. If I keep saying it enough times, you're going to have it ingrained in your memory. I plug in my values. Y1 is 2, x1 is 2, the slope is 1/2, and what happened here? Okay, sorry, I had a strange an equal sign right there, so I just whited that out. I don't know where that came from. So it's y minus 2 equals 1/2 times x minus 2, and we were given all the data up here, so the slope was 1 over 2, y1 was 2, and x1 was 2. Nothing difficult there. So let's look at what the equations of a line that we've looked at so far. We have slope-intercept. We've learned slope-intercept, sorry. Y equals mx plus b. M is the slope. We've learned point slope, which is what we're talking about today, which is the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we've learned just a standard equation, which is ax plus by equals c. It's important to be able to, know which equation goes with which one. And just to go over what the slope-intercept form, which you did last time, was asking you to do, is y equals mx plus b. The m is the slope, and the y-intercept is where the line should cross, unless you're trying to do it with my stylus. In that case, the line goes wherever it feels like putting it. Now let's try to write in slope-intercept form, which is what we did in the last lesson. So now we're going back to the other ways. Now we want to write in slope-intercept form the equation of the line that passes through the point -3 and 7 with a slope of -2. So we're going to first write it down in point slope form, which is the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We sub in the information that we were given, which was -3 goes right there, 7 goes right there, and the slope goes right there. We simplify, which is y minus 7 equals -2 times x plus 3. We had two negatives. We distribute the right here. So we end up with y minus 7 equals -2x and -6, because we multiplied the -2 and the 3 here. Now I'm going to add 7 to both sides to get rid of the 7 right here. So I end up with y equals -2x minus 2 plus 7. And then I continue to simplify, and I end up with x equals -2x plus 1. And now it is in slope-intercept format. That's an I right there. Okay, slope form. So now generally you can use a graph then to check to see if you got it right. Here you can see that I have, here's my coordinates, so that would be about right there. And you can notice that the line y equals -2x plus 1 has a slope of 2, and it's going to pass through. Again, I can't do straight lines yet with my stylus, so I apologize. I'll work on that to try to be able to figure out how to get a straight line, but anyhow. And then it passes through there, so that should help you there. Actually, this graph, I can't erase my line, but if you look on page 279, down there in the middle of the page, on example 3, you'll see that it draws the graph correctly, where it goes through the 1, which is what it should have done, except I can't get my thing. So the line, I don't have my line correctly going through. Again, I can't do a straight line. I don't know why. Here we want to write in slope-intercept form the equation of the line that passes through the point 2, 4 with a slope of 3. We write it in the point slope form. There's our original equation. I'm not going to say it again. We substitute in our values. We have the 4 right there. We have our 2, which goes right there, and our slope was 3. We distribute the 3 right here, and we end up with 3x minus 6. We add to both sides 4 to get rid of the -4 on the y side. We end up with y equals 3x minus 6 plus 4. We simplify that, and we end up with y equals 3x minus 2. Another thing you will be asked to do in this lesson is write an equation of a parallel line. And the first thing you'll do is write it, or you'll write it in, not the first thing, but you're going to have to write it in slope-intercept form. And in that case, you would have y equals 2x minus 3. That's the slope-intercept form. And it's going to pass through the point 3 and -1. The 3 is x1, and -1 is the y1. So the slope is 2, because we see that right there. So the slope of a parallel line, the other one is also going to be 2. The parallel lines have the exact same slope. So we write it in slope-intercept form. Oh, this is not in slope-intercept form right here. All right, sorry about that. I had to erase it. We're going to write it in point-intercept point slope. I can't write today. Sorry, this should be, if I can get my point slope form. And we have y, the same form, the equation there. We're going to sub in the values that it was given. We have -1, we put there. The 3 goes there. And then we work out. We distribute on this side the 2. We'd end up with 2x, and 2 times 3 is 6. We substitute in anything that we need to. Oh, we don't want to. I want to subtract. I saw the SUB, and I thought substitute. It means subtract. Sorry, and that we're going to subtract the 1, a -1 from this side. Add it, and then do the same over here. Then we simplify, which is y equals 2 minus 7. I do all the graphics. I write this whole thing out, and then I do the voiceover later. So I did this whole lesson last night, and then I'm doing the words to it, the verbal, while you're in art class. So that's why sometimes I go back and realize that I either can't read my writing or what I wrote. Maybe I was just too tired. On page 280 in your book, example 4, it shows these same lines, but obviously much clearer because their lines are straight and not wavy. The equation that we're working with is the y equals 2x minus 3. I'm checking to see if what I did on the previous screen, if it works out. And then my new line was y equals 2x minus y. So here my first line, which was given, was is right here. It crosses at the -3, has a slope of 2. The next line crosses at the -7, and it has a slope rise of 2. If you look at the graph there on example 4, you'll see where it's much clearer. The coordinates here were 3 and -1, and 3 and -1. I said that wrong, so I stopped to fix it. This one is 0, -3. This one is 3 and -3, -1, 0, and -3. And we have parallel lines with the same slope. Write in slope-intercept form the equation of the line that is parallel to the line y equals -2x plus 1 that passes through the point of 3 and -2. We have our slope-intercept equation right there. We know the slope is 2, and we know that the slope of the parallel line is going to be, or -2 and -2. We input the data that we have, so we have -2 here. We have 3 here, and our slope is -2 right here. We work that out. We have 2 negatives, so that's a plus. Y plus 2 equals -2x plus 6, because we distributed it. We have y equals -2x plus 6. We took away the subtracted 2 from both sides, and when we work it out, we end up with y equals -2x plus 4. Your assignment for Algebra 1, Lesson 5.2, which is on page 281 to 284, is numbers 1 through 13, 16, 17, 23 through 25, 29 through 31, 52 through 70 even, and quiz 1. I made a few notes on the next page on how your homework should look. In the homework notes on numbers 1 through 35, they're all going to be in the point slope form. Number 10 is just y equals and whatever that number is, and 26 through 34 is point slope and slope intercept.